My past with him, without him knowing it, goes back a long way. Just because he's the reason I became an actor, pretty much. And then I went to school at the Actor Studio MFA program in New York, and he came to our school, and I asked him a question, and that meant like the world to me. I wanted to ask him the question I asked, but I was so scared that it was such a stupid question that I was going to ask some question about the mission. There's this scene in the mission, this profile shot where he's with the Ipe, and I was going to say, like, hey, did you train with swords? And some stupid thing. And right before because we had the microphone thing like this, someone stood up and asked him about the mission. And I thought, well, I can't ask him about the mission. So then they came to me, and I was standing there, and all of a sudden, the real question I wanted to ask him came out, which was when you were doing Awakenings, there's a scene where he wants to go for a walk, and he has to be interviewed by the panel, the medical panel, and he's trying so hard to be normal, but the Adderall or whatever he was taking, I can't remember what that drug was, it started to not work anymore, and so he's starting to get the tics, and one tic was his right hand, and he would make up for it by pretending to brush his eyebrow. And he was like this when he was talking, and I thought, God, it was just so genius. And I asked him, is that something you saw people do, because if they were embarrassed by their tics, make up for it in some way, or is that something that just happened? And I thought that was going to, like, what? And then he literally went like this. He went, yeah, I didn't see anybody do that, but that's a good question. And I was like, it was like a beam of light shot into my chest. I was so excited. And I was like this. And I never sat down, too. I was like, and I looked around like, did everybody hear that? He said that, right? Yeah. So that was the first experience with Robert De Niro. And then I put myself on tape to play his son in Everybody's Fine, this movie that he did recently. And my mother played him, and we did it in Venice, in my house in Venice. And the tape got to him. I put myself on tape because I couldn't even get an audition for it. And he somehow saw it and wanted to meet me, so I met him in his hotel. My mom and I drove there, and that was, I was there for like 5 minutes, and we sat down, and he said, he was like, yeah, you're not gonna get it, but I see it, I see it, I see it. Okay. And then he said, he goes, oh, what, he's like, what, who was reading the other role? I said, oh, that was so weird. My mom was reading the other. He goes, yeah, I thought that. And then that was it. And then I left, and my mom said, what happened? I said, well, I didn't get it. But he said, I have it. He sees it. And I said, I think yeah. And then I saw him, and then cut to, I was a juror for the Tribeca Film Festival, so we're at this lunch a year later, and I sit down next to him, and I was like, hey, how you doing? I was like, I auditioned for no idea who I was. And he actually says, you like This Boy's Life? I was like, no, when I was like 12? No.